What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue here with my 2024 predictions for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The Oregon Ducks are up next. The Ducks coming off a really great year last year in 2023. They went 12-2 overall in the 2023 season and made it to the Pac-12 championship, but came up just short of winning the Pac-12 championship. And this is a team that was really close to making it to the playoff last year as well, but they ended up losing to the same team, two times in the regular season, one in the regular season, then of course in the conference championship. But going into 2024, they are now heading to the Big Ten, of course. That was their final year in the Pac-12. My thoughts on this team for 2024, I think this team is going to be very good. A lot of talent on this roster on both sides of the football. You look at the offensive side of the football, they do bring back a ton of production from last year, some veteran players, and then also added some pieces in the transfer portal. Bo Nix is gone, but Dylan Gabriel coming in over at quarterback, has a lot of experience at the quarterback position, played at Oklahoma and then of course UCF, so he has a lot of experience at the college football level as a quarterback, so I feel like this offense will be very explosive. And then defensively, you got plenty of weapons on that side of the football as well, added some pieces in the transfer portal as well. So yeah, this could be a very dangerous Oregon Ducks team heading into 2024. So let's now get to the schedule here for the upcoming season. This is the schedule here for the Ducks. Again, they were 12-2 last year in 2023. In their last year, of course, in the Pac-12. Now they're a newcomer heading into the Big Ten this year. So let's go game by game now and give you a record prediction here for the Ducks for 2024. First game of the season is against Idaho here on August 31st in week number 1. I think Oregon will take care of business in this game. They will definitely probably score like 30 or 40 points in this one, maybe even 50 as well. I think they really win that pretty easily here. They have no business to lose this game either. So I think Oregon starts out 1-0 pretty easily with a win over Idaho, and then they play Boise State after that here on September the 7th in week number 2. I don't really expect a blowout here in this non-conference game. Boise State's a pretty good group of 5 team out of the Mountain West. They always been one of the top, teams out of that conference, and definitely one of the top group of 5 teams in the history of college football. So I don't really expect a blowout in this one. But I do expect Oregon to take care of business still. I think probably they only win this one by maybe like 20-something points instead of like over 30, and maybe like over 40 as well. But you never know. Maybe Oregon probably will score a lot of points in this game. But Boise State just really isn't like got the talent like they they don't really have the talent like Oregon does. So I think the Ducks, they win this one pretty easily, and I think they start off 2-0 on the season, and that puts their record here at 2-0, I should say. And then after that, they play Oregon State here on the road on September the 14th. This is our rivalry game, obviously. It's not a Pac-12 conference game anymore. It's now a non-conference game. And instead of playing it in rivalry weekend, it will be played here in the third weekend of the month of in the second weekend of the month of September. I'm really glad that this rivalry is still continuing, even with all the conference changes, but it is on the road. This is the first true road game of the season here for the Ducks. I don't really think it's basically like a tough road game, but it is a rivalry game. You never know what can happen. But this first half of this game, I feel like it will be a close one. I think Oregon State, comes out pretty much fired up for this one. Obviously, it's a rival game, but I like the Ducks roster a little bit more. The talent is just there for the Ducks. I mean, obviously, they have a more talented roster than Oregon State does. So I think Oregon does pull away here in the second half here on the Beavers, and I think they win this one here at the end of the day. So I got Oregon defeating Oregon State here on the road in this rivalry. So that puts their record here at 3-0, and then they get a bye week here in that fourth week or the third weekend here in the month of September before playing on the road here to open up Big Ten play against UCLA on September 28th. UCLA, obviously, with a new head coach this year, Deshaun Foster now taking over down there for the Bruins. UCLA, kind of hard to tell how good this team is going to be. They still have playmakers on their roster, but really they don't have like a roster talent that's really going to come really going to match up here with the Ducks. I think it won't be a close game at all, even though it's on the road. I think Oregon does take care of business. I don't think it's a blowout. I think maybe the first half, like the Oregon State game, it will be a close game in the first half, but I think the Ducks probably will pull away here. So I think the Ducks win this one here, and I think they improved to 4-0 here with a win over UCLA. Next game is at home against Michigan State on October the 5th. This will be a home game here for the Ducks. Michigan State also going with the coaching change. They lost a ton of guys from the transfer portal on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, they could be pretty good on that side of the football, but like UCLA, they're not going to have the roster to match up here with the Ducks roster. A lot of talent on this Oregon team. I mean, they're playing at home in this one, obviously, so I think the Ducks will take care of business in this game. I don't really see this game being all that close. I think the Ducks win this one fairly easily. I don't think it's a blowout because when they get into Big Ten play, I feel like they won't win any games by blowouts. I feel like Oregon will win this one maybe like somewhere like 20-something points because they're playing at home in this one. So I think Oregon does beat Michigan State here, and that puts their record here at 5-0 on the season. And then there's that big game at home against Ohio State here on October 12th. This will be a home game, of course, here for the Ducks. Probably one of the biggest games coming up here in the Big Ten Conference. And this game really could decide who is the top team in the Big Ten this year. I've already done my Ohio State video from this past Friday, and I did pick the Ducks to win this one over the Buckeyes in a low-scoring type game. That's how I really think the game's going to go down. I think you got two really good defensive teams here and two very talented rosters. I like Oregon's roster just a little bit more. Maybe it's not just because of the rosters, it's pretty much just because of home field advantage. The Ducks do have the home field advantage in this one, so that's the reason why I really chose Oregon in this one over Ohio State. So I'm going to go with the Ducks here. I do like the Ducks here in this one, not really just because of the roster, but definitely because of home field advantage. Again, this is a very tough game to call, so with that being said, I think home field advantage probably favors the difference. I'm going to take the Ducks in this one to get a win over Ohio State, and that puts their record here at 6-0. Next game is on the road here at Purdue on October 19th. I'm not really that high on the Boilermakers this year. I don't really know how good this team is going to be like all these other bottom teams in the Big Ten. So I think the Ducks do take care of business in this one. I think they win this one fairly easily, and that puts their record here at 7-0. Then they play Illinois here at home on October 26th. Illinois, another team that has a lot of question marks. Don't know how good this team is going to be either. The Ducks are playing at home in this one, so I do expect them to take care of business in this game. I don't really see this game being all that close like the Purdue game and also the Michigan State game as well. So I think Oregon does win here against Illinois fairly easily, and that puts their record here at 8-0. Then they get ready for that big game on the road here on the road here at Michigan on November 2nd. I already done my Michigan video from this past Monday, and I did choose Oregon to win this game against Michigan here on the road. Michigan has a lot of roster turnover. I know a lot of people are going to be saying that their defense is going to be really good. Yes, I think they'll have a really good defense, but there obviously is some concerns about the offense. Just not a lot of playmakers, like last year's national championship team. But this game is on the road. I do expect this game to go into the fourth quarter. But, at the end of the day, I feel like Oregon's roster is just a little bit more talented. They have recruited so much better than Michigan has, so I feel like Oregon, with the roster that they have, I feel like they'll be able to win this game here on the road at Ann Arbor. So I'm going to take the Ducks in this one to defeat Michigan here on November 2nd. And then they come back at home to play Maryland here on November 9th. This will be a home game here for the Ducks. I don't really know what to expect here for the Terrapins this year. This is one of those consistent programs here in the Big Ten, but the Ducks are playing at home in this one. I don't know if I would say this game will be close at all. Maryland, lost a good amount of players from last year, so I think Oregon probably wins this one fairly easily as well. So that puts Oregon's record here at 10-0, and then they get ready for another big-time road game against Wisconsin here on November 16th. So yeah, on the road here at Wisconsin, I think the Badgers will be a little bit improved this year. This is going to be a really good team. They have a ton of experience coming back on both sides of the football. If there is one game that I think the Ducks could slip up in, it's probably this game right here. This is one of those upset alert type games here in the month of November. I mean, like I said, anything can happen here in the month of November. We've seen a ton of upsets come in the month of November over the course of the years in the history of college football, and it's definitely one of these games. I'm going to take the upset in this one. I think the Badgers, playing at home with all the experience that they have coming back, they do have a roster that can really match up here with Oregon. So that's the reason why I'm going here with the upset. I think Wisconsin does win here, and I think they give the Ducks their first loss of the season. I don't really expect anybody to go undefeated in the Big Ten this year just because I think how tough this conference will be. So I think Oregon does lose to Wisconsin here on the road. Again, it's just one of those upset alert type games, and again, I think Wisconsin is going to be a lot improved from where they were from last year. So I think the Badgers win that game, and they give the Ducks their first loss of the season. So that puts Oregon's record here at 10-1, and then they get their second bye bye week here before playing Washington here to close things out on November 30th. This will be at home here for the Ducks. This is obviously a revenge game, a double revenge game here for the Ducks from last year. They got beat by this Washington team 2 times last year, once in the regular season at Washington from last year, and then, of course, in the Pac-12 championship. So, yeah, this is definitely revenge games here for Oregon. Double revenge game here for the Ducks here at home against Washington. Obviously, just like Michigan, Washington with a lot of roster turnover. The offense has really a lot of question marks. And then defensively, they lost so much production there as well. This is going to be a very young Washington team. Definitely a new roster as well, in my opinion. So I think Oregon definitely has a clear advantage in this rivalry game, even though it's a rivalry. You never know what can happen. But I feel like the Ducks will win this one pretty easily. I think the Ducks do get revenge here on Washington after losing them to 2 times last year. Again, once in the regular season, then of course once in the Pac-12 championship. So I think Oregon does win their final game of the season, and so my official prediction here for the Oregon Ducks for 2024 is 11-1. So I think Oregon goes 11-1 in 2024. I could definitely see this team probably going 10-2. Maybe they do lose to Ohio State there at home. That definitely will be a tough game there. But, I feel like playing at home, the home field advantage might be the difference in that game. But there are plenty of games on here where I think the Ducks could slip up in. Maybe Oregon State. Maybe also, Michigan. I mean, that would probably give them like 3 losses on the year. Like maybe go 9-3 and also maybe 10-2. But I don't really see them going undefeated. I think the schedule might get tougher for them once they get into the month of November, especially playing Michigan and Wisconsin both on the road. So again, my official prediction here for the Oregon Ducks for 2024 is 11-1. Give me your thoughts on this Oregon team. What do you think their prediction will be for 2024? I should say, what do you think their record will be in 2024? Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.